74 million people use Duolingo monthly, which means that this is a super popular app, but honestly, most people are probably using it wrong, unfortunately. And in this video, I'm going to show you how I use Duolingo to get the most out of it. Hi, I'm Jackson from Let's Learn Languages. I've been keeping a streak in Duolingo for like 430 days, like over 430 days. Not to say I know my shit, but I've been using Duolingo for a minute. I'm just going to tell you what I've learned over my past 2.5 years of learning. First of all, Duolingo is just another tool in your arsenal to learn a language. It is not the end-all be-all of language learning. Just as different tools have different functions, Duolingo has a specific function that I would use it for. And just as you wouldn't use a shovel to cut down a tree or use an axe to dig a hole in the ground, you wouldn't use Duolingo to learn a language. It's not really why people use Duolingo, or why you should use Duolingo at least. In my humble opinion, you should be using Duolingo for 2 reasons. One is for the maintenance of motivation, and the other is for daily exposure. And daily exposure is important, is much more efficient than studying all at once. Some researchers took typists and said, I want you to type an hour a day for a week and see how much you improve. And I want you guys to type for 2 hours every 2 days for a week, and I want to see how much you improve. And what the researchers found is that those that typed for an hour every day did better than the ones who typed for 2 hours all at once every 2 days. So spacing out your language learning daily is actually pretty important, in my opinion. I've only said 2 things. I didn't say the third thing, which is learn a language. You don't want to be learning a language using Duolingo. It is incredibly inefficient. There are better ways to do it. So stop wasting your time using Duolingo. That'd be a good thumbnail. Maybe I'll put that as a thumbnail. I don't know what I'm going to put for the thumbnail, but that would be a good one. Stop wasting your time. Stop wasting your time using Duolingo. You should not be using Duolingo for like an hour a day or like even 15 minutes a day. You should be at most using it for like 7 minutes a day. A lesson in the morning and a lesson at night. But other than that, that should not be your primary method to studying a language. É muito ruim. What I would use to study a language are things like YouTube or flashcards or Discord or Tandem or podcasts or TV shows. These are all great methods and they would work much better than using Duolingo. If you want to know how to use these things, then I recommend checking out some of my other videos because I'm somewhat of a genius when it comes to learning languages. Sometimes I just talk and I just don't know what I'm saying until I've actually said it, and I'm like, oh, I came off like an ass there. No, I'm not a genius, but this is just what I've picked up in 2.5 years of learning a language. There are better ways to study a language than using Duolingo. If you just started learning a language, then flashcards and grammar books are great. If you're far along, then TV shows, podcasts, and conversation practice works phenomenally. But you never really want to use Duolingo at any point to study. Again, the other 2 things, maintenance of motivation and daily exposure, fantastic tool to use that. But don't study a language using Duolingo. Come on, guys. Now, how do you use Duolingo to make the most out of exposing yourself daily and maintaining your motivation? Well, let's talk about a couple of things you can do. First is 1, do it every day. Keep your streak up. Preferably once in the morning, maybe once at night, but at least once a day. And the nice thing about Duolingo is that it has streaks, and that's really important for keeping you motivated because you don't want to see your big number go down. Just as like Snapchat streaks, you don't want to lose your streak that you've had with your friend for a long time. It'd just be a waste. And streak freezes help immensely like this because staying consistent over that long is actually pretty difficult. So having a backup in case you miss a day is great. So whenever you can, buy streak freezes because they will keep your motivation up. Are you cheating? Maybe. Is it for the betterment of learning a language? Absolutely. I would just stay along the main storyline. Don't do any personalized practice. Don't buy anything. Don't do any legendary challenges. I don't even know what that means, but just stay along the storyline. Keep on doing your little lessons and everything will be good. And what's particularly great about Duolingo is that everything is made to be super easy so that it makes you feel really good and keeps your motivation up, which is such a great tool for that. Because it makes me feel like I understand Swahili a little bit, when in reality, I can barely hold a conversation with help. So like, it makes me feel really good about myself, at the very least. And also the interface is very clean. It just feels very fluid to use. So it's just it's a well-designed app. There's still one thing I want to end with, and that is that you can maintain your streak even if you lose all your lives. You can just go to the little hearts and say practice for more hearts, and then do the practice, and then you'll get more hearts and you'll also get your streak. So Don't worry about losing lives. It's a-okay. You have a backup plan. Lastly, as I said before, most of my studying comes from outside of Duolingo. Do not spend a lot of time on Duolingo. You're wasting your time. Spend it. I already mentioned this, so I'm not even going to say it. But you know what I mean. Try your best to use Duolingo as little as possible while still being on it to complete a lesson. That's it for me. I hope you guys found this useful. I highly recommend doing it this way, but if you don't want to, I mean, that's your deal. So enjoy learning a language, and for the love of God, do not use Duolingo to learn a language. Thank you all. Good night, America. Look, it's snowing. It's so pretty.